Yes, lads, episode 2 of the In the Grow Bag series. This is just going to be a video. I've got a pop-up on my Osmo, get rid of that. This is just going to be like solely run through of full body A. 2 full body sessions during the week now with the change of split. This split started last Monday, so we've got upper, lower Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, full body A Thursday, which is today, rest again tomorrow, full body B Saturday, and rest on Sunday. I was running an upper lower rest, lower rest setup, so it's the exact same training days, but I just get an extra day of frequency doing a full body session rather than an upper and lower individual session. So yeah, I'm buzzing to get in. This is the second rotation, as I said, so it's time to start taking lift progressions. Baseline numbers were set last week, so it's a matter of just getting in and starting to add load to the bar, add reps to sets, and start growing. You know, I'm reversing out of this diet really well, still 0.8 lighter than the Saturday I wrapped the diet up, which is coming up to 2 weeks. It's just like 12 days ago. I'm still lighter with food, nearly 1,000 calories up on a training day, a good 700 on a rest day, like 30 minutes less cardio on upper training days, 10 minutes less on rest days, loads of posing rounds less, steps down from 17.5 at their peak to 13k. So the deficit or the caloric balance has shifted massively, but body weight has not followed suit. But that's all well and good, but we do eventually need to start gaining body weight, more so sooner rather than later, because being lighter is meaning I'm not actually filling up my glycogen stores, and that's why the look hasn't been the best in my opinion. Compared to the end of the diet when I was getting my Monday, Tuesday high days, that was actually creating a fuller look than right now, because my body's just like, I'm a furnace, bro. That's one saying I actually like, but people don't like. I really like the term. My body's just essentially churning through the food, dropping off fatigue, because it was quite a harsh deficit towards the end, and like I was sub 2k calories, pretty high expenditure, so I was a little bit fuckered. But now that food, rather than being stored, is just basically helping my energy through the day to day, but it's still getting used. Training's like improving, but I'm not storing any of the food, if you get me. Yeah, just a flat boy, but flat furnace. So yeah, this session compared to last week, I trained it after work, which is one thing I've started to consider a lot when it comes to progressions for the logbook. If you've followed me for a while, you'll know I sort of live and die by the logbook. It's what I breathe when it comes to training. But like now, I take note of my body weight, my like schedule for the day, whether I'm training before or after work for a session, just to take into consideration why things might have not went the way I want them to in the session. Not that it's an excuse, like if I train after work, it's automatically going to be a session of holding on to numbers rather than progressing, but it's something you really need to consider, in my opinion, because you are going to be more fatigued throughout the day. If you're training 12 hours after waking up compared to training 3 hours after waking up, there's going to be a big difference there. So off work today, actually, I've had a double espresso, white monster, 2 carb meals in the form of my eggs, sourdough and salmon, meal 1, big bowl of cream of rice, meal 2, turbo pump, L-carnitine pre-workout, and we're pretty much fucking ready to get going. I really am itching to get into this session. I know CBAM is in Let's Grow Legs at the minute, so I actually might train legs first rather than upper, even though I trained upper first last week, but it'll not make too much of a difference, and I can just swap Saturday's session to Actually, Saturday's quite a leg work is quite heavy, so I'd prefer to do that first. But I don't know. That's minute stuff. I don't need to be worrying about that. Don't major in your minors. It's a good rule of thumb for your bodybuilding or physique development. If I want to hit legs first today, I can fucking hit legs first. I think plan for the day is literally just cinema 5 p.m. to see Begonia. I think it's Begonia. New film out. So it's literally just chill out protocol after this session. This day, I love days like this where the day is just based around training performance and fucking dedicating it. You're like dedicating the day to bodybuilding. It sounds weird, but like this day in my life, I'm going to eat my 5 meals. I'm going to box off my steps. I'm going to do my training session. And outside of that, I am just going to be parasympathetic, sitting in the cinema or on the couch and just recovering. So yeah, all client work is cleared this morning. WhatsApp was cleared. No check-ins on a Thursday as of right now. So yeah, it really is just hour time and get back to WhatsApp messages as they come throughout the day. But that can be done while I'm chilling out. But without further ado, going to get into this session. It'll just be voiceover format, and then I will likely wrap up the video at the end. So yeah, talk soon, guys. So voiceover segment of the video, my debut voiceover actually on the YouTube. So kicking things off with the full body session, we did in fact have the prime lateral raise. Now I very much like this piece of kit. If you follow me, you'll know I'm a sucker for a adjustable resistance profile. So the cam setup here is cam 1 and cam 5 for the back off, just 2 sets here. I was running a cam 3 set, so fully in the lengthen, but I just felt like it was a bit naff and I was struggling so much to come out of that stretched range and get it fully short that I was getting like no connection through my side delts. I actually found the bit more of the shortened range challenge, or challenging that contracted position a little bit more, felt a lot better on this lateral. Here we are on the top set. I've got my logbook in front of me. 165 pounds on the stack for 7 here for the top set. Good to note in this session, full body A rotation was 174.2 pounds, so I was actually down 0.6 pounds from when I first ran this session. Next up, we have a dual arm overhead extension. Now one set on this, as I do have triceps or train upper again in 2 sleeps on my Saturday full body session. So that means the way I train, I take sets to failure. I don't attempt that 50-50 rep, but I don't leave like full reps in the tank. If I know I'm going to fail a rep, I don't take that because that's just pointless for recovery. But I take it all the way there. So 1 set there, doing a dual arm just to save time, because these full body sessions do take long, 2 hours easy, 2.5 hours most likely, and then maybe pushing above that, whether I have to do steps, mandatory round of posing post-workout, but the steps does sometimes change. So always trying to be efficient with exercise selection in long sessions like this, and just keeping a close eye on volume. Movement number 3, you'll see I box off all 3 isolation movements at the start of this session. I do my upper work at the start of this full body, leg work at the start of my Saturday full body. And the isolations come before my upper work because they don't impact my compound work. Simple as, if I do my compound work first, that will impact my isolations. So this is just sort of a way of hitting these weaker muscle groups first, hit them fresh and getting the most sort of stimulus, because the potential for the motor unit recruitment is at its highest while there's no fatigue present. Lovely piece, this prime preacher, my favorite bicep movement. Supinated wrist position,
the heaviest and the lengthened, just exactly what we want. Then a new press for me. I'm only 2 or 3 rotations deep on this Atlantis flat press, but it is a beautiful piece of kit. If you've used the knotless leverage press where it's super heavy, or even the Jim Leco one, Jim Leco do a piece just like this, with in the sense that it's the heavy and the lengthened range resistance profile drops off into that shortened nicely, making it a lovely chest press, because the chest, the pecs have the best leverage to produce force in that lengthened position. So neuromechanical matching, folks. If you train a muscle group where it's strongest, have the load the heaviest there, yeah, most stimulus you're going to get. That is a brief explanation or breakdown of neuromechanical matching. Top set here, 2.5 plates aside with a 1.25 for 5. So on my logbook, I do note the comparison to last week's set with this rotation set. So this was actually up 0.75 kilo aside and matched reps, which is absolutely beautiful for being down body weight. Now this is where the session sort of took a turn from my usual programming. I normally go on to the prime dip. No, the high incline prime press. Apologies, getting my sessions mixed up. Normally box off all my pressing work and then move on to pull work, but someone was on the prime incline, where I run that high incline variant, and he had quite a lot of muscle, so I wasn't going to be annoyed or rush him to finish up. It wasn't a 14-year-old kid that was playing Clash Royale. So just went on to the prime row, upper back movement. It shouldn't impact my pressing too much, which, spoiler, it didn't. So that was nice to see. As for my numbers on the prime row, top set of 5 plates on the top, or 100 kg, and 20 kg in the mid, or 1 plate mid pin, that is, and 7 reps on that. So not a bad set at all. You can see me right now just pondering doing the set. Here we go. Top set going in. Focus for an upper back movement is scapular protraction. So that's what you're doing in the stretch, letting that shoulder wrap forward. Importantly, you're keeping the chest still. You're not letting that chest cave, because then you're just creating additional range, but not actually taking the upper back through additional stretch. So it's just more so erector involvement. And then scapular retraction. So when you're doing the contraction, you're cueing with your elbows, cueing them as far back as possible, and not letting that chest move, or being as strict as possible with a nice still chest position. Then we got on to the prime incline at last. I was running a low incline prime setup on this piece, but honestly, this high incline variant feels mega. All with the 100% top pin loading as well. This set was 3 plates top pin for 4.5 reps, just missing out on the +1, but did manage to match last week's set, which, for having 2 productive sets that progressed on the Atlantis flat press, that means I'm going in more fatigued in my pushing musculature, and then not even mentioning doing the prime row first. That's going to cause some localized fatigue, or just central fatigue, a heavy upper back row. So we're going into this movement a lot more fatigued than usual, and still matching, being down body weight. That is awesome stuff. Especially with your presses, you're going to notice that these are probably the first to take a hit when training performance is dipping, or they'll probably be the first to slow down when training performance is progressing. So to get some good work in there is always a pleasure. Then for the last of the upper body work, we were on the new piece of kit in the dock, the single arm prime pull down. Now, I've used this before in the gym near where I used to train out of full time. It is a lovely piece. You just have to set yourself up right on the very side of the seat, because it diverges a ton. So if we want to actually align with our lats, we have to simply sit over. We can't be pulling out way to our side. We have to be pulling down close to the hip tight to the body to get that lat stimulus. So here took 45.5 kilo on the top pin, 20 kilo on the mid pin for 7. And that was a plus one rep and a plus 0.5 kilo on the top pin. So epic progression there. I'm treating this really mind muscle connection if you like that term. I'm treating it with a lot of intent on feeling my lats. That's something I do sort of slip up on in my training. While there's rationale to just getting as strong as you physically can, I think feeling the muscle does play a certain role in development. Yes, get stronger, progress your logbook with standardized execution. That is the most important thing of all. But if you can do that while feeling the muscle, that's probably the best of both worlds, I would argue. And yeah, you can look at my physique and actually say that my lats from the front, and my front lat spread could be like one of my stronger body parts. That's my front lat spread is probably my strongest shot. So there's so many ways to skin a cat, with these training methods and beliefs in training. But like ultimately, someone could do horrible barbell rows but have such good upper back genetics that they have an elite upper back. That's not to say their training ideology is perfect. It's just to say that's what's worked for them. So take everything with a pinch of salt you see on training. Into lower work. Now, lower work isn't too difficult this session with no compound. The prime hack is meant to be in this session, but it is not installed in the gym yet. So we are currently just running a seated leg curl, a leg extension, a split squat, and a calf raise. Did not get the calf raise filmed for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sure you are all going to be heartbroken. You don't get to see me do a 7-rep toe press. But yeah, seated ham curl, prime, cam 3, neuromechanical matching again. Hamstrings respond best to being trained in that lengthened position. So we loaded it all up in the lengthened range with that cam 3, taking the stack here for 6 reps, which was up a rep from last rotation. Now I believe we'll be moving on to the leg extension, and I think this is just about where my Osmo decided to die. Had this thing charging for like an hour pre-session, and it still died midway through. These things do not charge fast at all. So if you're considering buying one, definitely worth it, but they do not charge quickly. So top set of the leg extension. My loading for this is slightly more in the mid pin because I'm doing no quad work beforehand, so I'm fresh to get the quad fully short. Had this been after a compound, which in this session ideally I would have the prime hack, then the prime leg extension, I would take some load off the mid pin. But this set here, I believe, is my back off. So we have got 83 kilo on the top pin, 15 kilo on the mid pin. Took that for 8 reps, and that was a matched rep set with an extra 0.5 kilo on the top pin. So just really good progressions all around. Upping food in this phase, reversing out of the diet well, not being a pig with off-plan food is really paying dividends and progressing my training. And then the funnest movement of this session, I say with a smirk on my face, is the Bulgarian split squats. 32.5 taken for 8 here. Now nothing lights up my lower body like a set of Bulgarian split squats. The stimulus I feel from these is ridiculous, whether that be just from a soreness aspect or actually what I'm getting from it, because it's an unstable exercise. You're balancing on one foot, holding 2 dumbbells that you're strapped into. It's not going to be immaculate for force output or from a force output perspective, but you can't argue with feel to a degree. I put up an Instagram post about not being able to bodybuild solely in theory, and I feel like this is what prompted that post. You can say this is unstable, especially at the end of a session, a full body session, training for over 2 hours. Your internal stability that you can create on an externally really unstable exercise as well the rationale or efficacy for getting a lot out of that seems really diminished. But I come off that, and my glutes specifically are just absolutely torched. So as I'm preparing for my back off, mentally preparing myself, here we go, we get into it. I will just start outroing this video because that is it for the session. Overall, it was super productive. You know, this was my Saturday session that I make the longest session of the week because I'm usually off work on a Saturday, so I can base my day solely around performance. And yeah, that's exactly what I do. You know, I take up to 3 hours in the gym to get this session done, and like I mentioned earlier, posing or steps beforehand and after. But yeah, really do just love this shit. I will leave you guys here. I'll send you off with this absolute grinder you'll see at the end of the set. Just a reminder, split squats don't end when it starts to burn. You take it to mechanical failure or muscular failure like any other movement. And yeah, drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.